All right, here's a quick follow-up. This is post Plico or post Signum. Plico is just automatic at this point. I don't know. I'm sorry. Post Signum. So this is the design. This is, the Signum, Signum 2. But where are we going from here? And the answer to that question is lots of weird places. So this is the original Signum layout design. And incidentally, if you start doing these double rotations on the keyboard layout editor, make sure that this rotation point is exactly the same. You'll notice here it's not. It's kind of an artifact of how it's programmed, but you can get it in the same spot. Make sure it's in the same spot. If you don't put it in the same spot, Swill's keyboard generator just flips out. So if you're doing something and your other half of the keyboard is upside down when you generate the build, that's why. It's because that center point isn't exactly, the rotation point isn't exactly the same. Anyways, so this is the original, the Signum 2, and this column here is kicking my butt a little bit. It's not bad, but when I get going real fast, I start missing that shift, and I start doing control instead of shift, which in Vim is always bad. Every keystroke is a function in Vim, so if you do a control something when you should be doing a shift something, something happens, it's unexpected, and you have no idea what's going on. So this needs I don't want to say like a quarter move. I think I gave it a quarter move, but a quarter is almost too much. I don't know. Whenever you make design changes, it's better to go bigger than smaller, because then you're able to see, accentuating that change makes it more obvious as to whether or not I think I moved that for a picture. Sorry. Go bigger than smaller rather than smaller, so that you can really know whether or not that change is making a difference. So those are things that are going to happen to this. This is where we wind up. This is primarily just the right side, or right side. This is what I'm kind of going for, and this column has already dropped. You can see that. And then this one is kicking out to the side. Remember I was saying that that lower right hand button gets hit by this part of your hand, this part of your pinky. If you're doing that, it might as well cradle your pinky. The profile might as well match it. So this one's getting kicked out, and you'll see that over here as well. And then this one is turned to match these thumb cluster keys. And that's mainly because you're hitting it with that thumb. So it only makes sense that it be turned to the same rotation. This is just kind of a mess. I'm just playing around here. But when we started getting into more keys, and I'm always kind of getting into more keys because with Vim, you wind up needing the extra keys. You need those number keys. You need more. And it takes a little bit of time for your software to adjust to go, wait, thinking and numbers, and now I need to hit a special character key, and now my function key. And it slows you down. For probably 90% of non-coding work, the 40% works fine. But for sitting down at a desk, and I might as well mess around with it. I've tried to get the additional keys, but it just doesn't work. And part of why it didn't work was because of this space here, or lack of that space. So with these single U keys, since everything is one size, we're missing these extensions. Now these keys, since they're on the side, they're longer. They have a different feel. They have a different sound. They have a different everything, really. And tactily, you seek to those a lot better, and your finger knows when it hits it and knows how to press it. So when you take those keys and you minimize them to single U size, exactly the same as these keys, your pinky gets a little flaky. So what you might do, and you might catch yourself doing this, is you home past the key. Your pinky might not hit exactly on the key, and you can get this if you record yourself. Uh, you might not hit right on the key, but you'll hit like you go a little over, and you'll hit it. But you'll hit it every time, but you might go a little over. And that's your pinky kind of feeling that edge to go, if I was over one key, I'd be like, "Oh, well this isn't the edge right here." But if I was over here, I would go, "Oh, this is the edge." And that edge is what speeds you up, I should say, because that's tactile. That's a feeling that your pinky is getting without you having to think about it or look down and see where you are. So if these keys were extended, um, like not even sure I can do these right now, like this, then that wouldn't be a problem. But since they're not, we run into this issue if we add another row or another column right next to it, because then we stop being able to seek these keys instantly. So that's part of why there's spaces here. So adding this space is just kind of to give you that 40% speed, but still retain the ability to pick up your hand and jab those keys if you need to. This is kind of a natural extension. It might as well be up here since you're already squaring off. But this will be just kind of a larger build, a desktop build. So we'll see what happens there. Next is the same extension. I've turned this into a longer key because now you might be running into the shift key when you drop your pinky here. But extending it is just kind of a natural option. I believe that size is the same as a control key. Maybe not. I'm not sure. That would also have a rounded profile and be a little bit easier to seek to. And center row, I mean, why not? This is a desk board. It doesn't need the thumb hole. But we've still got that space here. So this will be an interesting one. These will be numbers up here. They might be easier to run with. So we'll see what happens. That'll be a fun build. And this is a game pad. When you game, you need the extra keys. The split doesn't work because you need to seek over, and then when you get the split, your other set of keys is even further away. So having a gamepad like this, and again, we've got the same space and the same extension. Now this is something I'm trying out. I'm going to see how it works, but to be honest, it's probably going to be grid. I don't know what it is with the gaming, but when you start gaming, like even gaming on a vertically staggered board, I don't know. It's like the WASD is too far deep in the software. In your medulla oblongata, you're expecting all the keys to be square, and it's just not happening. So this is probably going to be a bit easier to play around with. You wind up with a set of extra keys here. Added an extra column here just because you want to be able to seek further and you want the extra keys. So we'll see how this works out, but that's where I'm going lately, and I'm pretty excited about this. I'm interested to know how it works out. So I'll get on the laser cutter and cut some of these guys and mess around with them and get back to you.